Our media product is a music video, website, photoshoot and digipack for our local band The Empires. The band's genre, as I have talked about in the blog, is a mix of indie and punk. I personally think they're more towards the punk side, but that's an opinion that can be disputed. So in the research and planning stage, we looked at what sort of conventions there are for the similar indie and punk bands. From this information we got what sort of things we would expect to see from these music videos, digipacks, websites with music from the genre. In answering this question, I will discuss how the product we have made either goes with or against these codes and conventions. Starting with the music video, the clothes the band wear are typical of clothes that bands would wear in the indie punk genre: skinny jeans, denim shirts and jackets and printed t-shirts, as well as all members having long hair. Dark clothing would also be very typical of the band and of the genre. Looking at the majority of other similar bands, this is the same. For example, with Green Day, Rise Against and My Chemical Romance. This is a convention of the genre that we couldn't help but agree with, due to the simple fact that this is how the band would normally dress, as we can see with photos of the band that they've played over the past 12 months. Another convention we adhered to was having our band recording location as a large empty space. In our case we used our school assembly hall, but we tried to make it be unrecognisable as that by adding our own touches. There are countless examples of this in our genre, many of which I have already included in my research and planning stages. Here we can see examples of this with such songs as American Idiot by Green Day and Midnight by Blink-182. With Make It Stop by Rise Against, the band actually uses a school sports hall as their location, and this is because the band's song is about people getting bullied in school, really. So it's for more of a purpose than ours, their location, but ours was simply chosen because we thought it had the potential to look very good, and we feel it did. And here we have a photo of the stage just before we started our work on it. The camera angles used in our video are typical of angles used in this genre. Freehand shots are very commonly used, especially in heavier songs as our track is, to reflect the chaotic nature of the music, the same way that they would be used in action scenes in movies. We used freehand shots in our band shot for this exact reason, and we feel it worked very effectively with the overall video and with the music. As well as this, close-ups of the singer shouting into the camera is very common in this genre, as it helps to portray anger within the music. We stuck to this convention using this type of shot on several different occasions. Here we see examples of other bands using these shots with Foo Fighters in The Pretender and with Rise Against in Prayer of the Refugee. We also used a point of view shot when the girl in our video is taking drugs, which gave us another bit of variety in our shots. A not so common idea we used in our video was the use of green screens. We got the inspiration for our shots of each member of the band moving at different speeds in the same shot, and from the American Idiot video by Green Day, where they do the same thing. This is very rarely used in this genre, but we felt it was overall an interesting idea that was worth trying despite the extra effort taking on the shots would have needed, and we are happy with how these turned out. For the story section of our video, it is hard to say whether or not we adhered to the codes and conventions, as in some ways we did and in some ways we didn't. We did in the aspect that the story is about a young couple who are having problems, but we didn't completely agree in the aspect that the girl was the one who was the constant bad influence on the timid boy. The fact that the girl is the one in the story who is more violent and abusive towards the boy highlights how we went against codes and conventions of this genre, and other genres in that case too. As girls being the violent half of the relationship is not very common in any forms of media, including movies and TV shows. In putting our band's name in massive writing on the backdrop of our set, we challenged the codes and conventions of the genre in this way, as this isn't very common at all. One band who used a similar idea is My Chemical Romance with their song Teenagers, where the name of their single is in massive writing on the backdrop of their location. But this did not give us the idea, as we'd already made up our minds to do it before seeing this. The style of the art in the backdrop looks typical of the genre, as it is not completely coloured and it resembles graffiti in a way. We made our backdrop by taking an old canvas that was previously used for The Sound of Music, a school play, and painting it black. We left some parts of the canvas unpainted as we thought it would suit the style more really if it didn't look perfect. We then got 3 art students from our school to paint a logo of theirs that we had edited onto the canvas. Overall, we felt this was an anti-establishment look that worked very well with the band's image. With our digipack, we used creative photos of the band from the photo shoot as well as our front and back covers. These were taken from the backdrop we used for our recording location, as we had originally planned to do. We felt that dark colours and plain album covers adhered to the codes and conventions of this genre. And here we can see similar examples of band covers from Foo Fighters and Green Day. The band photoshoot was taken in an abandoned, run-down classroom in Queen's University, Belfast. The location of the photoshoot fitted in perfectly with the anti-establishment feel of the band, with broken chairs and tables, graffiti all over the walls, old rubbish and newspaper all over the ground, and even a section of the ceiling had fallen through. We felt this too adhered to the codes and conventions, as they are similar to these band photoshoots of Green Day, Foo Fighters, and Sum 41. If anything, our photoshoot is in a way more interesting location than theirs.